Hello, everybody. Welcome to the chat. Give me welcome to the live stream. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to work some things out behind the scenes. Uh, see a couple people already joined the live stream. Oh my god. Oh, give me 1 second, everybody. What? All right, all right, all right. Almost there, everybody. Give me 1 second. If you can, please share the live stream so that everybody can see it. Share it on Twitter or Facebook, wherever you share things with people you know. Uh, I have two stories that I'm gonna talk about today. That I'm talking about in this live stream. Um, Jared R, what's up? I see you in the chat. Oh, while I'm here, there were some people who gave some donations on Cash App at the end of the last stream after I was already offline, I think. So let me just give them a shout out real quick. And there were also some people who donated on GoFundMe. If I could ever find it. Oh, RJ Ramrod donated on Cash App. So did Zanitu. And Deborah. So thank you for those donations, and also some people donated to the GoFundMe. A couple people donated to the GoFundMe. Isabel Tassi, one of my favorite longtime subscribers. She also hosted the March for Medicare for All in Tampa. Um, she donated to the GoFundMe. So have some other people. George Orwin, Megan, Jody Okafor. Um, so many people have donated over the last few days. So, all right, let's get into the first. Well, let me give you a quick run through of the stories that we talk about. So, the first story we're going to talk about is when Biden was getting out of Afghanistan. He there was the attack at the Kabul airport where some U.S. soldiers were killed, and then Biden did that airstrike that he claimed was towards ISIS K targets, but he ended up killing a bunch of civilians. Um, the Pentagon or some part of the military did investigation into the war crime, and shocker, they found that it was a complete accident, and nobody did anything wrong here. Nothing to see here, folks. So I'm gonna talk about that real quick, and also something that isn't really getting any coverage is by the Biden and the U.S. continue to sell weapons to Saudi Arabia to fuel their genocide. Um, I think it's worth noting, another thing worth pointing out, because Biden, when he was running for office, he was talking about, oh yeah, this war in Yemen is so bad, folks. We're gonna end it as soon as if we get elected. Been in office almost a year now. Already approved a $500 million weapons deal to Saudi Arabia, and now they're approving another $650 million weapons deal to Saudi Arabia, including missiles and things like that. So I'm gonna talk about that. Uh, do a little segment on that. And so before I do, I just wanted to let everybody know I was on, finally, long time coming. I was on the Fred Hampton Leftist channel. I've been on some panels hosted by Sabi from the Fred Hampton Leftist, but this is the first time I was on the main channel, I think. So I had a great conversation with Nick Cruz and JB. Sabi was hosting the whole thing. Josana from Fred Hampton Leftist, one of the newest members. Rome, one of the founding members of the Fred Hampton Leftist. Uh, uh, you know him from if you're on Twitter, you know him doing his tour for the homeless. So I was really glad that I was able to do that live stream. It was a great conversation. Oh, and Kit from Hardlands Media was also in that live stream. So it was a great conversation. Um, I'm also going to be. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to work out, but Fred Hampton Leftist, they're hosting a general strike summit um, for the weekend of November 12th to November 14th. Um, and I was invited to join some of the panel discussions on that, and I think that's going to be a really great thing. I was already going to watch it, and I was going to probably going to do some content on it anyway, because it looked like it was going to be a great conversation, and I got invited to be part of it, so that's really great. Some other people are going to be on there, I'm sure. Many other people are going to be on there, but I know for a fact Jimmy Dore is going to be on the at some point he's going to join, because it's going to be like a 3 day long event, live streams and panels and things like that. Jimmy Dore is going to join, and some other people are going to join, so that's going to be great. But and also, Kit from Hardlands Media wants me to come on Hardlands Media, which would be great. They're one of the bigger channels in left new media, and they've done a lot of great work promoting other independent media hosts and doing some like original reporting in Chicago, where they're based out of. So I think it would be a really great conversation. But in order to do any of those things, I will need money for a hotel room to cover, so that I can have a place to record for those days. So if you guys can help donate, the links are in the description of this video. PayPal, Patreon. And again, thank you so much for all the people who sign up for the Patreon. I greatly appreciate that. There's a link to GoFundMe, link to Cash App, all those things in the description box, and the Cash App's pinned in the live chat. So I really would greatly appreciate if you guys can help me get a room so I can like do those make those appearances because I definitely will not be able to do it without you guys. So all those links in the description box. And let me just go to the chat real quick before I start in the first topic. Where Pilgrim says, unapologetic good session on Fred Hampton. Fred Hampton leftist roundtable today. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. And Jared R already gave you a shout out. All right, so might as well get into the first story here, and probably not gonna be as many people in the live stream today since it is super late. I was having some technical difficulties when I was trying to go live with Streamlabs. I definitely need to update Streamlabs, and it was giving me some issues. But we made it, and we're going to start with the first story. Jared R says, "Where's everyone tonight?" Yeah, I think it's mostly because I started the stream at like 12:30. So I'm assuming that most people aren't going to catch it right now. I'll make a post on Twitter before I start the first story. Whoa. Yeah, I'm just posting on Twitter that I'm live. And it's a weekend too, so yes, you're right, Jared R. Shooting myself in the foot here, but I definitely wanted to do a live stream. All right, so a few months ago, during the whole withdrawal from Afghanistan, towards the end of the evacuations, there was an attack outside of the Kabul airport, which, by the way, there were dozens of civilians killed, over 100 people injured, and some U.S. soldiers killed. I will say, and there hasn't been much attention paid to this, but most of the people who were killed were killed at the hands of the U.S. troops during that attack at the Kabul airport. There was a blast, I believe, that was the blast that originally killed U.S. Troops that were part of the evacuation, and then the U.S. troops that were in the area just started opening fire randomly into the crowd, and then basically did a mass shooting of people trying to evacuate at the Kabul airport, because they didn't know who was attacking them. So that's some relevant context that I don't think really gets much attention. But so after that attack, Biden did this whole thing, chest thumping, talking about he's going to retaliate, and then he did this airstrike. And at the time, he was like, "Oh yeah, we just hit ISIS-K, don't fuck with us," all of that. And it turns out that they killed a bunch of civilians. Specifically, they did an airstrike that killed 7 children. I think most of them or all of them were under the age of like 5 or something like that. Killed a social worker or aid worker that was partnered with the U.S. in Afghanistan, and they killed 2 other civilians. Um, so at the time, I remember as it was happening in real time, uh, I was seeing reports from independent journalists on the ground in Afghanistan, and other sources that I trust to report in the area. I was seeing reports that they killed a bunch of civilians, and again at the time, the Biden administration was bragging, pretending like they killed a bunch of terrorists. And then a couple weeks later, after all of the fanfare and the media attention and the spectacle went away, they finally admitted, "Oh, oops! Turned out we killed a bunch of civilians, and we didn't kill any terrorists like we thought, like we said we did." So the whole thing was a propaganda, uh, uh, just like a propaganda effort to begin with, to manipulate the public and like put on this theater like we're there fighting the bad guys in Afghanistan like we've been doing this whole time. But it really was just chest thumping and to make the U.S. look like the big tough guys, and it resulted in the deaths of a bunch of innocent civilians, mostly children. And so the Pentagon starts this investigate. They do this investigation into the airstrike, and they basically cleared themselves, and they cleared all the generals, everybody who gave the order or was responsible for executing the order, and said that, oh yeah, we looked into this thing, and it turns out it was a complete accident. Nobody's to blame here. Sure, the lives of this family and these families and permanently ruined forever, and but it was just a mistake. It was just oopsie. So get over it, and we're not really going to do anything about it. That's basically the findings of this investigation. And when I saw this from, it was originally a tweet from Ben Norton, and it really pissed me off because this is something that like it should be. It is scandalous how there's this whole elaborate system of like fictitious investigations and oversight that the U.S. does whenever we murder civilians in these wars around the world, and it's like they pretend like they're actually investigating anything, but it's just an elaborate cover up of civilian casualties, and they've like slapped this veneer of legality on top of all of this, and pretending like uh uh like oh, it's because we did this sham investigation and we concluded that we did nothing wrong here, that everybody could just close the books here and there's nothing to see here. So they're essentially rewriting history to legalize genocide because they're doing it out in the open, right? This is one of the many examples of U.S. slaughtering civilians in Afghanistan during our 20-year occupation of the country. There've been endless examples of the U.S. bombing weddings, killing a bunch of civilians, bombing hospitals. I believe it was in Afghanistan. They bombed a school for the blind at one point. They bombed, like I said, bombed hospitals, bombed marketplaces, bombed infrastructure, bombed apartment buildings, and all these things. All of these countless examples of recklessness and indifference to civilian lives. And every single one of those investigations that have happened over the course of the entire war since 2001, all those things all those investigations come up the same way. And like I said, this is just a whole elaborate system of cover ups, and it is really alarming because, like I said, they're just doing it out in the open. They're murdering civilians out in the open, and hoping that if they just uh, uh, do this dog and pony show, that they can they can literally wash their hands of this and act like nothing ever happened. So this isn't like I said, this isn't unusual. This isn't out of the ordinary. The entire and one of the reasons why I wanted to do this segment is because it shows you how the entire machine, the entire system, is constructed in a way to always defend the war machine and to cover up the crimes of the war machine. And Julian Assange, who's being tortured, and the U.S. is currently looking to extradite him from Belmarsh in the UK for his work publishing the Afghanistan and Iraq war logs. Well, one of the things that Julian Assange and Chelsea Manning uncovered in the massive leak of classified U.S. documents was that, for example, the how the U.S. military classifies enemy combatants in Afghanistan and in Iraq. Uh, so like they anybody who is a male from the age of like 15 all the way up to like 60 or 70 or something like that, if they were killed in an airstrike, if they were killed in a drone strike or a raid or anything like that, the default position of the military was to classify them as enemy combatants, classify them as terrorists just because they were a male in Afghanistan who happened to be killed in a drone strike. So again, there's no you don't come up with that completely asinine system of classifying civilian casualties if you're not on purpose trying to cover up the murder of civilians, because they've completely at that point they completely flipped the burden of proof, and instead of having to prove that the person that they just murdered with a fucking bomb was a terrorist, instead of having to make that case and have rock solid evidence, all you have to do is say, oh, this person was a male, and so definitely was a terrorist. It so like I said, this is just an example of how deep the rot is, and how the lengths that they go to cover up civilian casualties. And if that was the case with and by the way, they've never changed that designation for enemy combatant. So that's still how they would classify it to this day. The default position is that you're a terrorist. And so if that's the way that they go about this, how again, you mean to tell me you're doing any type of serious investigation if that's the framework that you're operating from? All you have to do is prove that this person was a male and now therefore a terrorist. So I think the story was gross. It was outrageous, um, and I just hope more people pay attention to this, because they like I said, they're doing it out in the open, and people become like so numb to it, and so like it's become so casual. If even if you somebody who happens to hear about these instances of civilians being bombed and massacred in Afghanistan and also around the Middle East, where we set on fire in this with this war on terror, if you're one of those people who even happen to hear about it, uh, uh, it's it goes through this process of whitewashing with these sham investigations, and ultimately turn up and say, oh, everything we did here was justified, everything we did was it was there's nothing to see here, there's nothing wrong. And let me give you some quotes actually from the report, if I could find it. All right, and I didn't like prepare any graphics to put on the screen because it was just some real quick things, and I needed to get this live stream started. Uh, it says the military interpreted its intelligence on the car incorrectly. A mistake said blamed Saeed blamed on quote execution errors combined with confirmation bias and communications breakdown. Okay, so that's the bullshit justification that they use for why it was co- just a whoopsie. It was just a mulligan that they massacred a bunch of children. They said it was execution errors combined with confirmation bias and communication breakdowns. Okay, so is there so nobody's responsible here? Is that what you're saying? So like all the people whose decision it was, whose job it was to review the evidence and to make again you're dropping bombs, right? You would think that you would have as many safeguards as you could possibly imagine. You would think that you would make it as hard as possible that you accidentally kill civilians. So that means there's a chain of command. There's a, 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 a list of people that this has to be cleared by. And if you mean to tell me everybody's just absolved of any wrongdoing here because you're just going to say, oh, there was, quote, execution errors combined with confirmation bias and communication breakdown. It was just some logistical things. Nothing we could have done about it. So everybody gets to keep their job. What do you know? And then the confirmation bias. Okay, so that's like seems to be a big thing to try to gloss over the confirmation bias. So you mean to tell me if you just hear anything that kind of backs up your original uh, uh, um, ideas or your original biases, that again when we're talking about dropping bombs, you were so blinded by you're working backwards from your own conclusion that you didn't even take time to look at the evidence and about what you were doing before you decided to drop bombs. So that seems to be a huge fucking that seems to be a huge failure on somebody's behalf here. And again, there should be some answers to this. Somebody should have to explain themselves to this. And there should definitely be some type of like criminal investigation, some type of criminal trial here. Because again, that's at the very least, that sounds like manslaughter to me. Because if I accidentally, or if anybody accidentally kills somebody else, but it turns out it was because of negligence and because they were reckless, you might not get a whole premeditated first degree murder charge, but you're gonna get something like manslaughter or something like that. And at the very least, that's something that needs to be looked into here because, like I said, this is a regular thing. And then there was something else, one other quote that I want to share with you all. And then most of the media just is going along with this completely uncritical and no pushback at all, and providing absolutely no context that this isn't just like one off instance. Like almost every single time they're doing airstrikes in Afghanistan during this entire war, they were massacring civilians. That Obama's own CIA report said 90% of the time they were dropping bombs with drones in Afghanistan. They were hitting the wrong target and they were killing innocent civilians instead of these so-called terrorists that they were tracking. And again, the media has absolutely no pushback, no like nothing, nothing to challenge this bullshit investigation. They're just acting as stenographers and just repeating what the military says, providing no context to the audience and about how this is a regular occurrence, and how many times can you call this an accident? Because and this was something that as buddy feelings as we all have about Kyle Kalinske at this point, he used to make this point that was hard to refute, and it was hard to once you see it this way, it was hard to see it any other way. And so basically, he used to say back before years ago. So like the U.S. military always has this excuse that it was just an accident and things like that. But how many times can it be an accident and you still do the same thing and it still ends the same way with a bunch of dead civilians, and you keep doing this process over and over and over again for 20 years? At some point, we're gonna have to say it doesn't look like an accident anymore. It doesn't look like an accident. At the very least, it looks like you just have this complete indifference to human life, and whether people die, live or die, civilians live or die, you have absolutely no type of care towards. But you can almost kind of make the argument that it looks like you're doing it on purpose, because the example he used to give is like, imagine you were driving to work, you were driving to school or whatever, and then one day you hit somebody, you hit and kill somebody, and it's a whole tragic accident. It shakes you. Your life is changed forever. The person and the family who of the victim changed forever, and it's a whole big event for you, right? And then if everybody finds out it's an accident, there was no real like malicious intent or anything like that. It was just an accident. You hit and kill somebody, and then you get behind the wheel of the car and you do the same thing again next week, and then you do the same thing again the week after that, and like in 2-3 months you have like a body count of like 60 dead bystanders, and at some point it strains credulity to keep making the argument that this is an accident. And again, so when the media is reporting on this, and this article that I'm reading the quotes from is Forbes, there is absolutely no pushback to this framing from this incredibly charitable framing of these events from the military, and I just think that's worth pointing out. And there was this other quote that I wanted to share with you. It says, quote, well, this isn't the exact quote. This was some part of the summary. It says, however, Saeed concluded that the strikes didn't violate any laws or involve criminally negligent acts, and argued no single person was responsible for the mistakes. So, hey, everybody fucked up, and we didn't violate any laws here, so there's nothing to see here. And who you okay? You say it involves, like, it didn't involve any criminally negligent acts. There's a hard disagree for me, because you and even earlier they said, oh, they had confirmation bias. So again, if your job is to decide where bombs get dropped, and you have confirmation bias and you're working backwards from your conclusions, meaning you're not looking at evidence, it means you just have this conclusion in your head that, oh, we're definitely going to drop bombs here, and I'm going to find the evidence to make it happen. If you do all that and it results in people dying, I would say that's criminally negligent. And then the other thing that they want to hide behind is, oh, there's not a single person responsible. Everybody did it. Everybody had their hands on it. So isn't that another convenient out for people who do war crimes on a regular basis and massacre civilians on a regular basis? Everybody did it. So guys, are you really gonna be mad at me, or can you anybody? Nobody's responsible because everybody's responsible. Again, just another very convenient trick to protect the war machine and everybody involved when they do heinous shit like this. like murdering a bunch of children. And this isn't just my speculation. They admitting it this at this point. Yes, we killed a bunch of fucking kids in an airstrike. So I've said what I've had to say on this. It's incredibly frustrating. So much of like these war crimes have been covered up in this way. Like there's a deliberate effort on behalf of the U.S. government to cover up civilian casualties, and I have no idea how this is going to play out, like in the history books or whatever. But this is a very bizarre time where they can just do these acts of genocide and say it's all legal, and the media goes with it, the politicians all go with it, and the public doesn't really push back. And like, so again, we've just legalized genocide. So that's what I have to say on that. Let me see what's happening in the chat before I go to the next story. Ashura says, saw you on Fred Hampton Leftist today. Thank you, Ashura. Oh, I saw you in the chat actually, of the live stream. So thanks for watching and showing up. Arturo's in the chat. Phenomenal Mysticism's in the chat. I'm just getting home from work and the chat seems to be in low attendance tonight. Okay, so yes, that is true. I'm just, my default position has been, oh, it's just because I decided to go so late. I don't know about that, because I've one of the live streams that I've done that had the most views was like, I started it at 12 o'clock and I went on to like 3 in the morning. So my audience definitely is willing to watch a late live stream. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. But I will also say that my YouTube views, and also a lot of people in new media, their views have been down. So I don't know. What I've noticed is, from my almost 3 years of doing this on YouTube now, is there will be sometimes when the algorithm is less harsh, and there will just be sometimes, whether it's weeks or months, even sometimes if it's really bad, where it's like it's clear that they aren't showing it to as many people. And I'm definitely going through one of those periods right now on the channel in general. Views are way down, and I don't know if that's what's happening in this live stream. But I'm gonna do the thing. RJ Ramrod, thank you so much for that Cash App donation. I gave you a shout out early in the stream. I think you donated that like after I already ended the live stream before, so I couldn't give you a shout out. But thank you so much for that generous donation. And what did you say? Now imagine that's the route you take to work is on the other side of the planet, and all the victims are of Middle East descent. That's in response to that example I gave of how you can't really keep calling it an accident if you keep doing the same shit every week and murdering civilians. Yeah, there's a whole other layer of intent behind it when you went all the way across the fucking world to put yourself in a situation where you keep accidentally killing civilians, and you're gonna call it an accident. I don't know how much of an accident it is. It's not like you ran across them on the streets of Michigan or some shit like that. You literally went across the world, drop a bomb on their car in their neighborhood, and then killed a bunch of civilians. And say it's a fucking accident. Okay. Phenomenal Mysticism says the United States government violates laws frequently and rarely ever held accountable. So I don't think the U.S. government is in any position to determine what is lawful and unlawful. Yeah, that's definitely true. And one of the things this kind of relates to this, it kind of brought up this sort of I don't want to say obsession, but it was like this. There was a time when I was getting into politics originally, years and years and years ago. Might have been in high school when I was like really getting into it. And I looked into the classification. So the like the top secret classification and things like that, and redactions that the U.S. government does, and almost always they abuse the like the redaction and the classic the secrecy and things like that, just so that they could cover up their own fucking crimes. And this has been the case for a very long time. Um, Several examples would be like the dirty wars and the regime change wars that and the covert actions that the CIA and the State Department were doing all over Latin America to overthrow governments, and even in around Asia during the Cold War. And so like they would just bury everything, all the crimes that they did behind these classifications, redacted and seal the documents away for like 50 years or whatever. And it's just like it's a giant fucking protection racket for the establishment and the people in charge of the war machine. Ashura says, Franham the leftist or Rome finally got you, even though you were doing the Matrix and dodging the like bullets. Honestly, I really wasn't. I really wanted to be on Franham the leftist for so long now. It's just the it just wasn't working out. Me and Nick had planned to do a panel some other time, and that didn't work out. And it was just a bunch of different things. And you all know I'm hard. I'm like I will read every single comment that comes on the channel, but like to get like a interaction, like a back and forth with me through like DMs or anything like that. So it was just a lot, and I'm super glad that I finally got to go on with Friend Him Liftus. I definitely plan on going on again soon. Like I already said, I'm going to be doing the. I'm going to be part of like do some panels with their General Strike Summit that's coming up in a couple of days actually. So I'm very glad to be doing that. And also want to be do some of like their foreign policy panels. So definitely going to see me on Fred Hampton Leftist more. Um, what was I about to say? What was I about to say? Okay, so let me actually get into this next story. Before I do, so I have like I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I've been invited to do some different things for the show to get the message across to a different audience, bigger audiences. Like I said, Fred Hampton Leftist invited me to be part of their General Strike Summit, um, and I also was invited to uh, join Kit and the Heartlands Media crew. They invited me on the show. Um, Franco from Frank Analysis, who show I've been on, they've also invited me to be. He's also invited me on a panel in the next couple of days. So there's a lot of appearances that I want to do. A lot of opportunities I can get to introduce people to the channel. And as you guys always say, one of the most underrated channels. And so if I can help, and especially with the General Strike Summit, I really want to be part of those discussions and um, hopefully have some type of productive conversation about the next steps for direct action. So if you guys want me to be part of those discussions, if you want me to participate, I would need to pay for a hotel room because, or else I wouldn't have a place to record from. So if you guys can donate, I would greatly appreciate it. because I literally won't be able to do any of those things if I don't have the money for hotel room. So I wouldn't be able to do without you all. So the links are in the PayPal in the description box, Patreon's in the description box, GoFundMe, Cash Apps in the description box. So anything that you guys could come up with would be greatly appreciated. Um, all right, so I'm gonna get into this next topic. I'm sorry, my brain just blanked. Oh, so real quick, I just wanted to um, put a spotlight on this real quick. So during the campaign during 2020, uh, it was a popular position in the Democratic primary to be in favor of ending the war in Yemen. It was clearly a genocide that we were facilitating, and it was a clear way to score points on the Trump administration, because at that point it was them who was fueling the genocide and providing this unwavering support to the brutal Saudi uh, uh, dictatorship. Um, so they would come out and give all the flowery rhetoric and be like, oh yeah, we love peace too, guys, and they were all pretending like they wanted to end U.S. support for the genocide in Yemen, and Biden was one of those very vocal people. And shocker, what do you know? Democrats have complete control of government, complete control of the White House, and final say on matters such as funding genocide. And a year into the Biden administration, what do you know? Not only have they not ended the war in the genocide in Yemen, um, we're continuing to fund it and continuing to give Saudi Arabia more weapons so that they can slaughter civilians and brutalize an entire country. Uh, Earlier this year, the Biden administration and Congress approved $500 million in weapons to be sold to Saudi Arabia. Um, Again, this is, and everybody likes to pretend like these are defensive weapons. This is not. You cannot be giving. There's no such thing as selling defensive weapons to a country offensively attacking another country, to a country actively participating in a genocide. Because if you're giving them weapons to defend themselves, and again, they're just going to take those weapons and offensively attack people in Yemen. But even if you wanted to pretend like they were using it to defend themselves, if you're going to help them protect themselves, the occupiers protect themselves from the people they're trying to occupy, that's again not really defensive. So the gave $500 million to the Saudi government earlier this year. And now there's they just Congress is supposed to approve another $650 million in weapons to go to Saudi Arabia. And again, what we're doing, our involvement in Yemen, has been horrible. We've participated in this blockade of the country not allowing food and medicine. Before COVID, this was the worst humanitarian crisis on the planet, and it was entirely man-made and it was entirely avoidable. But because of our unhealthy money centered relationship with Saudi Arabia, when they want war, we go along with it, and vice versa. So we've followed them into this genocide from back in the Obama administration. I believe it was 2014 the war started. 2013, 2014 the war in Yemen started. And it's been brutal ever since then. Completely destroy the country's infrastructure. There have been countless stories of the Saudi government bombing hospitals and infrastructure. There was a story I remember was one of the first stories I covered on this channel of the Saudis they bombed a school bus, killed 60 civilians and like 30, 40 children. Um, and they did it with U.S. weapons, and they got logistical support from the U.S. military too, because uh, uh, at the time, and I believe we still doing it to this day, providing them logistical support. So we're giving them the targets where to drop the bombs on the ground. So we're supplying them the weapons, and we're giving them the intelligence, which is a funny way of looking at information that is always wrong. We're giving them the intelligence and the exact coordinates of where to drop the bombs. And again, they're clearly doing it and targeting civilian infrastructure. Another story that was one of the first stories I talked about on this channel was how they bombed a marketplace, killed a bunch of civilians, an open air marketplace. And then when the first responders came to try to take the survivors that they can to the nearest hospital, they waited till the ambulance, the first responders, got to the hospital, and then they doubled back and did another airstrike in front of the fucking hospital. So again, they're doing this with our support and with our weapons, and there is no end in sight for the U.S. support of this massacre. So this is outrageous. Um, I mean, we're literally, I don't know how many different ways I can say it. We're facilitating a genocide here. And the Biden administration is just gonna go along with it, no questions asked. And that's kind of the state of affairs that's happening right now. With everything that's going on in the middle of a fucking pandemic, in the middle of an economic crisis, that none of those things are going to slow down the war machine. And it's just it's crazy, it's wild. So let me see what's happening in the chat. Noli D says, uh, we have almost 460,000 subs on the channel I work for. I can talk to my boss and see if they will look at some of your work. Oh, I greatly appreciate that. If you don't mind, can you let us know in the chat what channel that is? I would definitely greatly appreciate chance to have some of my content shared like that. DOG says, I'll see you guys next time. I ain't feeling too hot. Damn, DOG, what's happening? How you feeling? Hope you feel better. You're definitely one of the regulars in the chat. If you did sign out, I miss you. Hopefully you get better, and I'll see you in the next live stream. Um, oh, Noli D says the Real News Network. I've definitely uh sorry, my eyes itching me. I've definitely seen their work over the years. I believe Aaron Mate was actually he used to work at the Real News Network. He was a producer over there, and he was like a host too. So they've done some good work. Silu says Saudi's giving U.S. money. You mean giving the military industrial complex money? Yes. It's part of the whole fucking grift money making operation. Uh, they give the money to the defense contractors. The defense contractors give them the weapons, uh, and the cycle just continues unabated. Genocide for profit, as I like to call it. Um, Noli D says it was a decent show to. It was a decent show tonight. I didn't work on this one. I wish I had, but I have two jobs and I volunteer, so I can't be involved in every one. But I think there has only been 8 segments in 2 years I haven't worked on. Oh wow! So you really, you really put in some hours over there at the Real News Network. Um, that is definitely that is some definitely a level of commitment I respect. George E, thanks for showing up in the chat again. Did you get my email about PayPal refunding me and saying you weren't verified? Oh, so this is a thing that I've realized I didn't know was an issue, but it's definitely an issue. Um, I think it's the donations that I got through Streamlab. Apparently, I linked my PayPal account. I, I thought that was all I had to do because that just makes sense. And it turns out that there was some other step that I have to do, and because I didn't do that, basically all the donations I got through Streamlabs got refunded. So yeah, I just kind of took that L. I wasn't gonna like try to get their money back from people after they got their refund. I was just like, all right, I have to just kind of figure this out and make sure that it doesn't happen again. So, I do believe I read an email like that from you, George. I just didn't get the chance to respond. So, and I think you did give another some donations after, but I'll definitely try to figure out what it is that I have to do to make sure that doesn't happen again. Paul Eisenberg says, I remember Jeremy Scahill sounded the alarm bells about Obama expanding Afghanistan war in early '08. Wish I had listened to him. This is before Scahill went soft on Democrats, lying by omission. Yeah, Jeremy Scahill definitely around early Obama years was doing amazing, and in the Bush administration doing amazing work exposing the military industrial complex and the war machine. I will admit I have not been following much of his work too closely, um, but he is at the Intercept, and yeah, he's that's what I'll say on that. Ashura says, unapologetic. Did you see the Kyle video? Still grifting on the fraud squad and sheep herding for the party. Jody, $50 on the $50 donation through Streamlabs. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that. My channel's been demonetized, so if you want your message to come up on stream, you can do a donation through Streamlabs with a note, and it will pop up on screen. like Jody did with that $50 donation, which is huge, 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 huge for this channel. Like I said earlier, I have uh, a couple big events, big things scheduled for the show. Um, but because of the living situation, I need to be able to have a hotel room so that I can record. For example, like I'm supposed to be doing the Fred Hampton Left is hoping hosting like a 3 day long general strike summit. They wanted me to come on and join some panels and talk about direct action and some issues like that. And I really want to do that. Huge, definitely want to do that. Be part of the discussion. I would need, like I said, I don't need a hotel room. Um, I was on the panel with Kit from Heartlands Media earlier today, and they want me to come on their show, which would be another huge deal. But I'd need a hotel room. So if you guys can donate any amount, I would greatly appreciate it. Doesn't a huge $50 donation like that from Jody will go a long way, and I greatly appreciate that. But anything you have, anything you can donate, I would greatly appreciate it right now. Like Nicole, I think this is Noli D. Uh, Sent a $3 donation on. Yes, it is Noli D. A $3 donation on PayPal earlier. Says we love you. Every dollar counts. Exactly. That's exactly what I was saying right now. Every dollar counts. If enough of you can scrape together $2, $3, whatever, um, I can definitely get a hotel room for those days because you guys have been helping me since this whole living situation over the last couple of weeks. You guys have been helping me pay for these hotel rooms, so, and like I said, every dollar counts. All these donations that you guys have given me has gone a long way to help support the channel and to make it so that I can keep putting out content for you guys. Because that's always, uh, I always say like, no matter what else, I know I may be shitty at responding to DMs and emails and requests to go on shows and things like that. But the bare minimum of what I always have to do for you all is to keep coming out and putting content. And the living situation makes it a little bit more difficult. But I'm never going to stop putting out content. I'm always going to find a way to do it. And you guys definitely help me do that. So let me go back to the live chat. RJ Ramrod says, I remember vaguely, I vaguely remember hearing about something about how Aaron Monte left the Real News Network because he wasn't allowed to cover certain topics objectively. I heard that too. I, that might have been. He definitely said that about Al Jazeera because I think Aaron Mate worked at Al Jazeera for a time too, and he said that about the Real News Network. But I don't remember the exact examples he gave. Al Jazeera, I think it was anything that the Qatari government didn't approve of or went against their narrative. Like I believe on Syria, uh, he had a hard time reporting at Al Jazeera. He just wasn't going to be able to do that at all. Uh, so I can't speak exactly to the examples of at the Real News Network. So I'm not going to get too into that. But I definitely heard that to RJ Ramrod. Oh, Noli D, I see you in the chat reminding me about that donation. Um, and let me actually check Cash App to see if anybody donated on Cash App. Okay. Um. Oh, this the OG. Noli D says get an Airbnb. It's cheaper and nicer. So I'm not sure about the cheaper part. I would have to look at it because I've personally never rented out Airbnb. Um, I'll look into that. I know as far as hotel rooms go, this is like one of the cheapest rooms I could get in the city. To be real with you, I live like in Florida, like close to the theme parks and things like that. So they jack up all the fucking prices because of the tourists for hotels and stuff like that. So um, with all the fees and things like that, for one room here for a room here for a night, it's usually like $50, $60. Um, and sometimes depending on how many like guests that they have, the prices will go up. So I try to keep it as cost efficient as I possibly can, but it is just very hard to do. Uh, there's a saying that being broke is very expensive, and I could definitely attest to that. I would much rather have a regular place where I can live stream a couple times a week and not have to like just fork over all my fucking money every time I get a live stream just to pay for the room. So I really am trying to figure out something to make this more cost effective. But this is the setup. I will look into the Airbnb because I've a lot of the suggestions that I've gotten lately have been just to be like get cheaper a cheaper hotel. But I'm literally it's one of the cheapest I could get in the entire city. Ashura says, "Did you see the Intercept making up a fake story of censorship?" Yes, I actually did see that. It was about a college newspaper, I believe, that was reporting on like some type of strike or something like that, and they said that the college told them to take it down, and whatever. But I can't do a whole segment off it off the top of my head, but I definitely did see that. And that's seems very on brand with with where the intercept's gone over the last few years. Jared R says, "How much of a cut does Patreon take?" I believe Patreon takes 10%. Patreon takes 10% of anything that I make. YouTube, I mean, my channel's been demonetized, but and they do owe me a check too that they've been holding for over a year, but that's a whole other thing. But YouTube, they take like 40% of anything you make. Like they just not they not even smooth with it. They just gonna try to fuck you straight up out of your money that they owe you. But I think Patreon has one of the lowest uh like fees in terms of that. But one of the best ways to like directly support the show without anybody taking a cut would be through PayPal, um, Cash App. I can make I'll just like make the withdrawal over like a day or whatever, and I won't have to pay a fee. Yeah, so PayPal, Cash App are the like the direct ways where there is no nobody taking a fee out. Georgie says, "I'm confused. Is Streamlabs working now?" So the thing is, I was able to get the donations. I was always able to get the donations, but I didn't realize. And the reason why I'm able to get the donations is because I set up my bank account and my PayPal linked to Streamlabs. So that's why I thought I did everything I had to do, because what the fuck else am I supposed to do? But there's another step. I looked into it after I saw your email. Um, to verify my PayPal, um, in order to process the payments. And if I didn't do that by a certain time, which I didn't, because I wasn't aware that I had to do it, it refunded the donations. So it's working. You if you send me the money, it'll be there. And now that I'll verify it, I'll get the donations through Streamlabs. Jody Okafor says, people need to hear your voice unapologetic. Keep fighting. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. You're somebody who always shows up and participates in the live chat, and that definitely helps boost the show and the algorithm. It helps share to more people. But you're also somebody who uh, very regularly donates to the show and makes it that I can even record and um, produce this content to share with you all, with the audience and anybody who might come across it. So I mean, I keep saying thank you, but I can't say thank you enough because like I literally cannot do this without people like you, Jody. So thank you. Oh, uh, Ashura says you forgot to finish talking about the Kyle comment. Ooh, what was I saying about that? I do remember I was saying something and then I got cut off and I just completely lost my train of thought. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. Noli D says I've always got Airbnbs and there's some great discounts too. Yeah, some a lot of my friends always do it and they always get these like big ass like party houses and things like that. And I would just that just seems excessive and like completely unreasonable. So I've never. That's why I've never even like crossed my mind to look at Airbnb. But I know that they do have like a bunch of different properties that might have different prices. So you might be onto something. Uh, no, ED also says, hit me up when you want to go book a place. Let me find you a deal that maybe others will split with you. That definitely sounds like a good idea, um, Noli. Actually, I'll have your email because of the PayPal. So I'll definitely take you up on that. I paid 40 a night for a nice 2 bedroom on the beach. That is like you said, that is definitely cheaper than these hotel rooms. The only thing that might be different is like I said, the location to the like Disney and Universal, like just because of that, they will jack up the prices of everything because of the fucking tourists. So I will look and hopefully I can find any type of Airbnb anywhere in the city that's around that price that you pay for that 2 bedroom on the beach. Oh shit, it's okay. 150. I have to do something real after end the stream because I have to go do something before 2 a.m. Um, I want to do a whole maybe like some type of marathon live stream to try to raise some money tomorrow. Let me know if you guys what you guys think about that. Um, because I definitely need to like money for the at least do a couple days of the the General Strike Summit and to do Harlan's Media. So I'm probably gonna try to come on and boy, we right in bottom of the barrel when we talk about funds lately. So I'm gonna try to maybe do like a marathon live stream tomorrow to try to raise money. Let me know what you guys think about that in the chat. One, if you're down. Give me a two if you catch it if you catch it. Independent Left News. Thanks for showing up in the live chat. I do need to message you back about what we spoke about. Um, and I read your DM before I went on the live stream with Nick and Fred Hampton Leftist um, about like some of the decisions that you were doing like behind the scenes and stuff like that, and conversations that you guys were all having behind the scenes. Uh, uh, I definitely need to participate in some of those things. Like I said, I got a lot going on right now, and I'm trying to get this money and trying to figure it out for the hotel rooms for like the next so I could do these appearances over like the next couple of days. But love the idea, independent new left news. Definitely want to work with you on that. I just need to get get my life straight before I do that real quick. But I definitely am going to get back to you. Um, Noli D says we could do a rotating live stream marathon. That way, other channels can join and bring their views. Uh, that would be great. I would love something like that. I've never asked because I don't know. I just think that's a lot to ask. To ask a bunch of, and I do know a couple different like content creators. I've been on a couple different shows. I've been on with Jackson Hinkle. I've been on with Franco. Basically, everybody at the MCSC network. Fred Hampton Leftist. So many people. And even like journalists online and stuff like that. That I've been able to make connections with because of the show, but I just I don't know. I've never, like I said, that would be great if I could do that and like get enough money for a place or something, or even just enough money to cover hotel rooms and expenses. Um, but I just I never did that because like I don't know. I feel like that's a lot to try to impose on people. Um, but Noli D, that sounds like a really great idea if we could make that happen. Oh yeah, love to gore. I did talk about those two stories earlier in the stream. I was just in the shoot the breeze uh with the live chat. But I like I said I have to go do that thing real quick. George Orwin, $5 from PayPal says hope you do a show tomorrow. Thank you so much, George E. Um Between you and Jody and Noli D, I think I'm gonna do that live stream tomorrow. But I'm gonna end the stream. Uh, are you on Indies or on Indies Discord? So you're on Independent Left News Discord. Okay, that's good to know. But I'll probably email you because I have your email from when you PayPal me. So that probably be the best way to do it. So I have to end the stream. This is probably one of the shortest stream I've ever done. But I will be back tomorrow. We're gonna try to get some money. Um, so look out for that. Thank you all so much, and thank you everybody who's contributed, everybody who showed up for the live stream. I greatly appreciated you guys. And if you can contribute, all the links in the description box and link to PayPal is also in the pinned in the live chat. See you.